pins 5? Think that's on a pins 5?
Talk to him and we would talk about different books. The same thing with Barbara Hughes. We had our book club of 2 people. And we read some crazy books, but they were good. But no, I miss, my mom loved Bo too.
Oh, he's a good
Bo was
guy.
such a great guy.
Oh.
You know, my grandmother always used to say that people will lie on you while you're here and lie for you when you're gone. But I must say, Bo Wood didn't need to tell any lies about him when everybody said he was a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
He was great.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's somebody who had a lot of patience.
Oh, God.
And he would just, wow.
I enjoy it. We had a trial, one trial, and I forgot what it was. That it was hilarious though, because I told him he just won't take anything.
Yeah.
Guy got like 20 years. It was like, and it was a very, it was quiet. It wasn't him being that. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and he gave a very good
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything. But it was just like we had the evidence. It's like the guy was like, I didn't do it. It was like, this is you.
Yeah, that's on video. Your mom is coming to testify and say, yeah, that's
Yeah.
my baby. But no, I miss Bo. There are a lot of attorneys that I miss. When I first started practicing, I had just been introduced to somebody, and it takes me at least 2 introductions to remember
Yeah.
somebody's name.
Yeah.
But he was such a dapper dresser, and he would wear the bow tie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And his advice to me, he said, Stephanie, always get expensive artwork and put it in your office for a tax write-off. I'm like, okay, that's assuming I have money to get some
That's what I was
expensive
saying. That's
artwork.
assuming that I'm successful.
And so I was laughing with him. I said, oh yeah, well now I know where to put the Picasso, right? And so he ended up passing, and how he passed, he was changing a light bulb outside on his front porch, and it was one of those high
Yeah,
ceilings,
yeah.
and he fell.
Oh, see, that's where I thought about, as we get older, I'm 51 now.
Mhm.
I was like,
Oh, you're a baby.
well, I just don't want to die stupidly.
Oh, no, I do not. And you know, I
It's like,
have
I don't
to,
want that for my child.
yeah, and I have to remind myself,
I know.
because mom is retired, and I have to remind her, there's no need to rush. Why are we rushing and tripping over things?
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just, no, I don't want to have the accident in the bathtub.
I know. Oh, yeah, something stupid. I was like, I guess that can't be it.
No, no, no.
I was like, saving some child from something, maybe. I go, that would be maybe,
Yes.
but I go, if it says an extra 10 years, I'm like, yeah, I just wanna.
There you go. There you go. There was this song, what is his name? Billy Beater. I think that's the name of the group. And they played that song during Family Ties.
Mhm.
And he's like so in love with this woman that he said he would subtract 20 years from his
Oh,
life.
God, yeah.
So I was talking to my brothers about that. They're like, so that means that I would be dead right now if I would have.
Yeah.
They're like, no, not even a year, not even a day.
Yeah, not a couple hours. Nope.
No.
I know that all the ones. Nope.
Yeah. Yep, I'm not subtracting anything.
The good song that I like is I listen to all types of music,
Mhm.
really, but yeah, I think it's Kenny Chesney. It's like Live Like You Were Dying.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a good song.
No, is that Kenny Chesney or is that Faith Hill's
Oh,
husband?
no, it's Tim McGraw.
Yeah, Tim McGraw.
Tim
Yes.
McGraw, you're right. Because
But if you live like you're dying, you're doing some crazy
oh,
stuff.
yeah, I mean,
You're gonna get on the bull.
that's exactly what because like this weekend, I took my little girl to, it was off of Burning Stage Road. George Strait used to be part owner of this place called the San Antonio Rose Palace.
Mhm.
And it's out there and they had a rodeo. Or they had it later on, but they had the barrel racing earlier for
Mhm.
the younger ones. So I took her out there.
Mhm.
And the funniest thing is later that she goes, Dad, I see all these bulls over there. She was right in along the fence. And I went over there and I was like, oh crap. I go, yeah, no, my freaking life. I go, oh yeah, anybody can sign up.
Yeah, sign up.
I was like, do you have a real small one?
And then you know what it'd be like. Daddy, it would
Oh,
be
yeah.
so great if you sign up.
I was like, I need a small one with no horns and maybe with only 3 legs.
And then she's like, you're my hero, Dad.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta get
I was
her.
gonna have another back surgery.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, but no, not for me.
Oh, no. See, I just received an email, Deputy Laura. It's like to participate on a panel at a school. I have to say yes for the children.
Don't forget, Judge, children will be here tomorrow, high schoolers.
Oh, I will be ready for the high schoolers. Let me see.
Yeah.
Hello?
And they want to talk to Judge.
All right, who is Gomez? Oh, you're on Gomez?
Yes.
Oh, okay, we'll wait for you then. Darwin Gomez?
That's not my client.
Okay.
Oh, Judge, I sent you a text message on that one.
You know what? That's like the song. That's my house. That's my dog. That's my wife, but that's not my truck.
It's funny.
All right, if you come forward.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm alive and breathing. I couldn't ask for
Oh.
more.
You know what? You're already ahead of the game. I always tell people, appreciate the small things in life. Stop and smell the roses,
Absolutely.
but don't be late for court.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you're not. But other than that, yeah.
Punctuality, punctuality.
Yes. See, Bashan, I don't want anybody being late for court and they come in and say, well, Judge, you told me to stop and smell the roses. That's what I was doing. And they have some nice roses right outside the courthouse. They're still in bloom. They should not have cut down the hibiscus. Those were about 6 feet tall and they cut them down.
Pretty much.
All right, so your attorney was actually elected to the legislature, state legislature.
Yes, Your Honor.
So when they're in session, a court can't force them to have hearings here because they're in session. So we're gonna reset you.
See that? See that?
Just 1 minute. Let me see something.
No rush, take your time.
Okay.
I got a 7-hour drive after this, so I'm in no rush.
Oh, my goodness.
I drive from Oklahoma every time for this,
Oh, my gosh.
for the past year and a half, I believe.
Oh, okay. Norma, let's reset this. I know that they're in session, but let's reset it on the safe side for 60 days. I know they'll still be in session, but Mark may want it brought back.
March 27th.
All right, so we're going to be back on March 27th. You can appear by Zoom. However, if your attorney is going to be in court, then we'll need you here. So your attorney will let you know if he's going to be here or not. If he's not able to be here because he's in session, then you can appear by Zoom.
No worries, Your Honor. I'll do whatever needs to be done.
All right, thank you. And
Yes,
thanks
ma'am.
for dressing appropriately for
That's my
court.
pleasure.
All right, once you get the reset form, you are excused and drive safely.
Oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am. That's serious. And I'm just to clarify, defendant, right? I'm sorry. Not good. I didn't watch enough CSI growing up. God bless you, Your Honor.
All
Stay
right.
warm in the freeze.
Oh, thank you. God bless you too.
Give you the cost numbers. Carter, I'm looking at the wrong. Yeah.
All right, on Jose Corona is the defense attorney here.
Carter.
I am so sorry. I don't know where they are. I don't like to do show causes, but it appears this is what may end up happening with this. Norma, do you have the number for Attorney Wilson?
I don't, the one that had it was, Matt, Stephanie, let me contact her.
Bruce, is it Steve Wilson?
It is Anthony O'Neill Wilson.
So I got one Wilson's phone number, but not this judge.
And the number that's on the state bar, it comes up as wrong number. All right, so if you could call them and let them know, where they are, because we've been waiting for them. You have. All right, thank you.
Don't sit in the front. If you have family members out here, do not talk to them. I'm watching.
Oh, wait.
Oh, no. I didn't have a speech. This is just. If you have. That is no problem. It's just gonna start our lives. So wherever is. Plus everything.
Yeah, please don't do that. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Just one more print. Thank you.
Or.
Okay, I need to interview.
No.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry you have to sit here and wait. Shauna, are you going to be ready to speak to the high schoolers? Yeah, I'm giving everybody plenty of notice.
Hey, Judge, we have another school that would like to meet you.
Oh, tell them, come on down.
This is Hollandale's law enforcement classes and law.
Let me just tell you, I think that is excellent because they don't have after-school specials anymore. I am telling you, of course, I always did my best to follow the rules that were set. If my mom said the curfew is at 9, I would be home by 8:30 because anything can happen. You know, maybe you get stuck in traffic. But I remember the after-school special with Susan Day from the Partridge Family. And she ended up in a women's prison. Let me just tell you.
The Partridge Family?
Yeah, it was the after-school special. People are shocked, and we even had an after-school special where it was some high schoolers, of course, looking back on it, knew they were like 30, even though they're pretending they're in high school. Was accepting rides for hitchhikers, and they were telling you not to do that. And so, of course, something horrible happened. And then they had one with Malcolm Jamal Warner from the Cosby Show, where he ended up committing suicide. And then they were telling, children how to deal with that, how you see what's going on. And I'll never forget it because he loved his skateboard and he told his best friend, "Oh, you can have my skateboard." And the friend just like, okay. So they don't have that anymore for children.
Yeah, people start giving them wanting to get away stuff. That's a red flag.
So that's what I learned from my after school specials. And they don't have it anymore.
My mom used to bring me, I think they just built the Justice Center. My mother would brought me up here and I'd get to sit in the witness box and Docket and all that. So I saw what was going on.
Oh, yeah.
It helped.
So hopefully they'll bring back the after school special
Yes.
and Schoolhouse Rock.
I had I was in ADA in County Court 6 at one time, and I was curious about 1.5. So Ben was like, "Yeah, I'll take you down there." When like as soon as you open the door, I stand like this sometimes. As soon as I did that, man, he cuffed me up. He's like, "Oh, I got another one. I got another." Yeah, it wasn't very fun for me. Everyone else got a laugh out of it.
Oh yeah, no.
I wasn't too happy. Larry Contreras. Getting it. Yeah, it wasn't damn fun.
Oh yeah. Well, my very first experience as a student attorney, they told us to always go places in pairs. So I always wanted to do criminal law, but one of my friends wanted to do civil. So they had to visit their client who was at the state hospital. And so this is our very first trip. So we go to the state hospital.
Some fun
When we
place.
go in, well, I mean, everybody was nice, but when we go in, they didn't give us any name tags or anything. And so I'm thinking,
Yeah, they're not letting you leave.
mystery, nobody knows we're not supposed to be there. And so we go in and the person at the front desk, "Oh, you're here to see this person?" We're like, "Yes, we are." And we're trying to act,
Professional.
yeah, we're attorneys. We know what we're
Insane.
doing.
Insane.
Yes. And so they put us in this waiting area. Her client comes in and then somebody else comes in and they're very violent. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what's the plan? What's the plan? And so her client stands up and shouts at the person and says, "If you don't get out of here," then he's like, "I'll be back. I'm going to let the staff know." And I'm like, but after that, I was like, wow, this is something I may want to branch off and work with mental health issues as well.
It's really tough. It's
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
It's tough there.
Oh, it is.
I that's why I tried to stay away from that and stay away from family law. 'Cause I practiced family law I was in private practice for about 4.5, 5 years. I always wanted to do criminal law. I was a prosecutor up in
yes.
Boston, but
Mhm.
like the family law starts creeping over and overtaking your docket. So
It
yeah, it's-
does, because I ended up doing a lot of um, child protective services cases, because I was walking in the hall and judge's like, Attorney Boyd, I'm like, yes, we need you on a case. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
So, and then that's how I ended up doing it.
that's, you wind up getting a reputation. You wind up getting more than you wanted.
Yeah.
That's what happens to us,
So, but it was interesting.
to say the least.
All right, is anybody ready?
For an amendment.
All right. As soon as you're sworn in, we'll take you up. All right, March 11th. And it's 10:30, correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Oh, Norma, did you give that evidence to?
No, I still have it.
All right, so we need to figure out who's the defense attorney on that as well. And
Sounds good.
no, I mean, but the person's name is on there. And the letter, and it tells you which defendant it's concerning.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry.
All right, let me see the letter. Oh, it's this person. Last name Bond.
I'll look it up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you.
I'll figure this stuff out.
And there are some cases that have been recalled. Rivas. Yes, he's on page 7. The attorney said they received no notice, and also Perez. No notice.
Is that John Ray?
Yes, John Wayne Perez
When is that coming back?
and Mark Anthony Rivas. Oh, that's Reyes? The V is cut off. That Y at the bottom of mine is cut off. I don't get the Y. Hey, I do. I did just receive my glasses
Judge. Okay, so Reyes is coming back when?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And who else?
And I'm sorry, what?
Maybe you said another name.
Oh, and then John Ray Pettis.
You don't have any Juan Ramirez, Judge?
Juan Ramirez.
He's just above. It's on page 7 also, but he's the first.
Oh, that's coming back on tomorrow as well. And if you could let them know their attorney said, all right, Mr. Reyes. Your attorney stated he didn't have notice. So Reyes, who is Ramirez? And who is Perez? John Ray Perez? Okay, so this is what happened. We have a new system called Odyssey. And the coordinator puts the dates in the system, or either the system generates the dates based upon the charges and whether it's a motion to revoke. Something's been wrong with the system. So dates have been put in the system, but attorneys haven't received notice. So it's not your attorney's fault. It's not the court's fault. It's the system. So your attorneys are going to be here tomorrow. So we're going to bring you all back tomorrow. All right? All right. Thank you for your patience. Bashan, when I wear my glasses tomorrow, I may see too much. That's the problem. You know? When my uncle got his hearing aids, you know what he said? I hear too much. And so he said he was walking around and he thought there were footsteps in his house. It's the hearing aid, his own footsteps.
That's how it goes. Like, I just go along with that.
Well, let me just tell you how great my vision is. Person in the back is wearing a white hoodie with the Pomu symbol on it. Am I right about that?
That's right.
But Sean, if the doctor asks me, look, P-U-M-A, P-U-M.
And it's too close by, just let's see, read the numbers in the docket.
Oh, let me just tell you, I cannot see the docket with my glasses on. I need to take that off.
You don't want the little line?
I refuse to get the little line, because then you're just asking to go even further. All right. Robert Garza. And is this a plea on 2 cases? All right. Court is calling 2024 CR 012483 and 2024 CR 011532, State versus Robert Garza. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Christine Brown on behalf of Robert Garza Jr.
And are you Mr. Robert Garza?
Sure.
Counsel, in each of the cause numbers, have you received all discovery and did you review it with your client?
I have received all discovery and reviewed it with my client.
And each cause number, the court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Are there any applications in this case? In each cause number, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do waive the reading of the indictment.
State in cause number 2024 CR 012483. Are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in cause number 2024 CR 011532, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, wait for the answer, read here, and announcement on that. Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection.
Mr. Garza, in each of the cause numbers, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers? You're gonna have to speak up.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, sir.
All right. And cause number 2024 CR 012483, you're charged with theft of property, $2,500 with 2 or more convictions. And the state is alleging a repeat offender allegation. If they're able to prove that repeat offender allegation, your range of punishment will be anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison. and up to a $10,000 fine. In cause number 2024 CR 011532, you're charged with evading arrest, with a vehicle. That's a third-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Sure.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. You have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent. Did you understand those rights?
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you're giving up those rights? Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in each of these cause numbers? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I believe he does.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offenses?
I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Garza, in each of the cause numbers, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea? Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, sir.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial in each cause number. In each cause number, did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it? According to the plea, in each cause number, punishment is to be assessed at 2 years in the prison. There's a $2,000 fine, and the cases are run concurrently. Is there any restitution in the case?
No.
All right. Did you?
Judge,
Yes.
sorry, this time we wanted to ask if you could consider probating those $2,000 fines under each cause.
Okay. And other than that, did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense is that the plea?
Yes,
State, is that the plea?
It is.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
I had e-filed them, but nothing was ever set.
All right. Then in cause number 2024 CR 012483, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
And to the enhancement allegation, how do you plead? True or not true?
True.
And in cause number 2024 CR 011532, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State any evidence. Any objection?
No objection.
And each of the cause state you, this is not the case where you have the victim impact, is it?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. You may be excused. In each of the cause numbers, did you review the document entitled Waiver and Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent? Did you understand by entering into this plea bargaining agreement, the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
In each cause number, the court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, in each cause number, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty based upon your plea of guilty and based upon state's exhibits 1 and attachments. In cause number 2024 CR 01248, the court will find the enhancement true based upon your plea of true and based upon state's exhibits 1 and attachments. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes,
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
nothing at this time, Your Honor.
All right, then. And cause number 2024 CR 011532. As previously stated, the court is finding you guilty. The court will sentence you to 2 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's a $2,000 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. This will run concurrent with 2024 CR 012483.
To be clear, the fine will not be probated.
Did you review in that case what's entitled trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. And cause number 2024 CR 012483. As previously stated, the court is finding you guilty. The court is finding the enhancement true. Court will sentence you to 2 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. This will run concurrent with 2024 CR 011432. And there's to be no contact with Walmart.
Is it Walmart in general or just that specific store?
Walmart in general. And I believe the other place is IHOP. Let me just double check.
I would say that there was no criminal act alleged in respect to my client at the IHOP. That was for the evading arrest in a motor vehicle.
All right, so with the IHOP, I see you were with a female. Do you want to have no contact with her or do you want to have no contact with IHOP? Those are your two choices.
IHOP, I guess.
All right,
Am I running into-
because I think you're,
am I running into her? No.
and no contact with IHOP. All right, and that cause number, did you review the document entitled trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because it's a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. You can continue on this path that you find yourself on where you're stealing for Christmas gift, going to the IHOP, knowing you can't afford IHOP, or either you can change your life. Otherwise, you know what's going to end up happening? You're going to end up at somebody's prison for the rest of your life and at somebody's Bexar County jail. At some point, these state jail felonies, it's going to be a habitual, which your range will be 2 to 20. This evading arrest detention, it may turn into a habitual if you continue on that path, which would mean your minimum would be 25 years. So you have to ask yourself, is all of this worth it? Were those pancakes worth it? I don't think so. But there you go. You're going to have to make better decisions. Good luck to you. All right, so is the person here for the other, they're not here yet?
You don't need it.
If y'all want to come forward, because I know you've been here all day waiting for them.
No,
Well, I mean, here, I can't even, I can't even respond to the motion to withdraw because The attorney is not here.
I talked to their office again
Mhm.
earlier, and they keep telling me the attorney is in the building and that he is making his way over here. I don't know, it's
Is
almost
that
2
the thing
o'clock.
when you invite somebody and they're supposed to be picking you up and they say, oh, I've already left my house and they really haven't? And they're like, I'm in the parking lot. That's what they usually say. I'm in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go. All right. Yes. All right, Norma, could you have an interpreter come down?
Yeah.
And we'll talk to him. And which firm is that?
I've never heard of it. It's called Matan, Matian. It sounds like it's
MATI.
AN.
All right, and do you have,
This is the best phone number. I was like, the judge is gonna ask for a better phone number.
all right,
That's
I'm
the
gonna
best
call
one.
them right now.
Okay.
Make that happen. And this is the case that needs the victim impact, right? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, cool. So we're gonna take your plea today, and then we're gonna bring you back. Deputy Laura, if you can have him brought back tomorrow.
No, they're here.
Are they here?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
We're
okay.
good.
All right, thank you. Yes. All right, court is calling 2024 CR 011671, State of Texas versus Jamal Ricardo Fisher. If I could have parties announced for the record for the state.
For the state of Texas.
Defense.
Attorney Albert Osvaldo for Mr. Fisher.
And are you Mr. Fisher?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all discovery?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you review it with your client?
I did.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Ms. Abrams, this is an application. Did you review the application for deferred adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Your Honor, proceeding on count 2.
Any objection to the waivers?
No objections, Your Honor.
Did you review the court admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with injury to the elderly or disabled with intentional bodily injury. That's a third-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes,
You have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent. By entering this plea, you were giving up those rights. Did you understand?
yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in the prison and up to $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Fisher, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on count 2. There's a $1,500 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with the complainant and a mental health evaluation. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea? Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, are there any such motions?
None, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 4 years. There be 60 hours community service restitution, anger management, MRT, and follow all recommendations from the mental health evaluation in TAP. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offense as charged in count 2, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State, any evidence?
No objections, Your Honor.
Right, did you review the waiver and consent to stipulations of testimony and stipulations with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there'll be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence state's exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. After reviewing state's exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
We are, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
We're asking that you follow the plea bargain agreement, Your Honor. My client's been in custody since the offense date back in August of 2024. He's had an opportunity to think about, why he's here today and actually accept responsibility. He understands that, if granted the application for probation, how daunting that it may be, but in speaking to him, he's ready to move on with his life and make a difference. He understands, what he did was wrong. And I believe he has something to tell you, Judge. If he can.
Oh, if you have something you wish to tell me, I'll place you under oath.
I'm sure.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Jamal Ricardo Fisher.
All right, what do you wish to say?
Miss Boyd, I can tell, even taking the glasses off, I'm nearsighted. Both of you and I have these little scars right here from our glasses. And I was listening to you earlier. Without my glasses on, I can barely see you. 6 months ago, on August 26th, I reacted to what I felt had been 2 years of a nightmare. I have lived with my parents for 38 years, and they're the best things that have ever happened to me. I couldn't see the forest through the trees because what was happening to me had never happened before in my life. That day, I reacted in a horrible way towards my father because I lost my cool and I lost my power. The last 6 months of my life have been the best 6 months of my life because I've gotten in touch with myself and I've remembered a very important thing that no matter what I'm going through, and no matter what anyone is going through, how I choose to react to it is completely and totally up to me. And these days, I choose happiness. I cry a lot because it's been a long 6 months. And the last 2 or 3 of them, I haven't spoken to my family. Well, last 6, I haven't talked to my dad. Last 2 or 3, I haven't talked to my mom. And I've lived with them for the entire 38 years of my life. What happened to me didn't just happen to me, it happened to us. But my parents were never to blame. And I couldn't see that because of, lack of communication, being a 38-year-old and immature in some parts. But I'm glad to be before you today. And when I say that the last 6 months have been the best 6 months of my life, I don't intend or want to be back in jail. But it was time that I needed to listen to myself. It was time I needed to listen to God. It was time I needed to really reflect, not just on the time in here, but the last 38 years of my life. And I'm happy standing before you and my parents today, knowing that God gave me a reason for existing. And it's to bring happiness to myself, my family, and anyone else that I encounter. And no matter what I'm going through in life, no matter how hard it is, I don't have to not be happy. And I surely don't have to take my unhappiness in a moment out on someone, especially not my dad.
Any questions? Anything
For the
else?
bench, Your Honor.
So here's my question. One, it appears that you're not going to be allowed to live with your parents. So why were you, as a 38-year-old, living with them in the first place?
Well, over a decade ago, I'll admit that I was a drug addict, and my parents were enablers. They loved me as much as a parent could love their child, and then some. And so they didn't want to kick me out on the street. They didn't want to, despite me stealing, thieving, and whatnot. That was not the case over the last 2 years. Over the last 2 years, I have done anything and everything I could to get a job. Actually, let me take that back. At the beginning of those 2 years, I was completely sober. In a 2-week span, I had gotten off of all pharmaceutical medications. I decided I no longer wanted to smoke cigarettes, which I had been doing since I was legally allowed to smoke cigarettes, and I no longer wanted to use drugs. And I kept that promise to myself for nearly a year. I was racially profiled and wrongly terminated from my job, fell off that horse, but I remained sober. I didn't smoke cigarettes, and I just decided to get back on that horse. Only I didn't get back on it. After a month of not having any work, I was fine. After 3 months of not having any work, not so much. After 6 months of not having any work, of having my parents' Wi-Fi hacked, my cell phone hacked, of having people whose identities I still don't know listen on my phone calls, things were getting testy.
So let me ask you this.
Yes, ma'am.
Your prescribed medications, what were they for?
When I was 21, I was a full-blown heroin addict, and I was depressed because I was a full-blown heroin addict. I'd swallowed 1,300 milligram trazodones because I was tired of my life. I was hospitalized off of Floyd Curl for 7 days, and part of my discharge paperwork was to go see.
Okay, here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
I need you to slow down because the court reporter has to take down
I
everything.
apologize. I was hospitalized up at the hospital of Floyd Curl, because Methodist. Part of my discharge paperwork was to see this man, his name is Dr. Moody, not making that up. He talked to me for 35 minutes and said that I had bipolar 2 disorder, prescribed me lithium and clonazepam, and I was 21, max 22. At the time, because I was raised to respect my elders and because I was in the hands of a doctor, I just kind of said, okay. I was never bipolar. I never had bipolar 1, never had bipolar 2, but for over a decade, I kept taking clonazepam. Lithium I got off within about 2 years. But I never needed that medication. I never needed lithium. And it took my ex, who I was then with, to wake me up to the fact that I didn't need to be on that benzo.
And do you have any children?
No, ma'am, I wish I did.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
No other questions.
All right. So, is his father here?
Oh, I think you
All right, if we can have his father come up, please.
gonna step aside.
Yes. So, could you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
James Henry Fisher.
All right. So both parties have agreed for your son to have probation.
Yes, ma'am.
And part of my job is to put in place conditions that will help him be rehabilitated and help him with whatever issues he may have.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't do cookie cutter probations. Everybody doesn't receive the same conditions. So what is it you think he needs? Is there some mental health issues going on here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
When he's talking about being diagnosed with bipolar, he was diagnosed, that's true. And when he says his ex convinced him that he wasn't bipolar and he quit taking the medications, mom goes through mood swings.
Mhm.
And like I said, I'm not a physician, but the physician said he was bipolar.
Okay.
But a friend or his ex said he wasn't. So he decided to go with what the friend of the ex said.
Mhm.
And when I said mood swings, it's 1 minute he's happy and up and everything's great. The next minute, the world is crumbling. And then there's an anger part of that. Okay. And my wife and I have been dealing with that most of his adult life. He has a pleasant personality, but like I said, for me, on the 26th of August, Jamal beat me with a metal cane like I was a piece of meat.
Mhm.
Okay. And broke into the house, did a whole bunch of negative stuff that you all have records for. I never understood why. Today, I don't understand why.
Mhm.
Okay, but some of the same things that he's saying to you as far as the ex convinces him not to take the medication and him not being on medication. And I'm not a doctor, but like when he was on the medication, it seemed like it was happening. Okay. He has had an issue with maintaining jobs. He told me and my wife that we had aliens in my backyard. The Masons was after him. My Wi-Fi had been hacked and all this other stuff. Now, I don't know if the Wi-Fi was hacked or not. It could be because it happens all the time. But as far as some of this other stuff, but there's a Masonic lodge down from my house.
Mhm.
He talked about going down there, blowing up the lodge. And I'm like, come on, those folks aren't messing with you, okay? But he had a couple of pictures on his phone where he felt that people were following him and this type of stuff. And to me, that was all the mental part. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying I'm correct, but he just made me feel that way.
So let me ask you, do you think it would help him? Because they do have placement in a mental facility
Mhm.
to make sure that he is on his medications, to make sure he has a case manager.
Mhm.
Do you think that's what he needs and that's what would help him?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, when I talked to the DA's Mrs. Jones this morning, and she was talking about what could happen like, as far as 2 to 10 years of type of stuff. And I told her that if Jamal went to jail for 10 years, that's still not going to help him because he has mental issues, in my opinion. So my focus is, even though he assaulted me, is he's my son. I love him. I love him till I leave this earth. But he actually needs some help. Okay. And he doesn't understand that or doesn't see that. You can ask my wife. She's here. And we've been dealing with him for 30 years. And
So I will tell you what my plan is with
Yes, ma'am.
conditions,
Mhm.
is to get him help for mental health issues. The question is whether or not you want to have phone contact, but because before he has in-person contact with you outside of court settings,
Mhm.
I like to start people off slow.
Right.
So are you okay with him speaking to you just by phone or speaking to your wife by phone?
He talks to her now.
Okay,
Okay, so he hasn't talked to me since the 26th of August. And I don't have an issue with that. Okay.
all right. So what I can tell you is I'll start off with the contact will only be by phone, or either if you all want to do it by Zoom, but there'll be no in-person contact.
Mhm.
And once a doctor or therapist or probation says to me that it will be safe for him to have in-person contact with his parents, and you all are okay with that, then I'll strongly consider his having in-person contact.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
All right. Is there anything else I need to know about your son?
Other than that, like I said, I don't know what made him do what he did. His whole adult life or his whole life, we've been trying to just be decent parents. And I got 4 kids.
Mhm.
And the only time I've been in a courtroom like this was with Jamal. Okay, several years ago, same thing. Okay, so and that's what I was telling the attorney. I don't know what will help him. I hope this is the last time that I have to come into a courtroom. on
Well,
a
I will
negative
tell you,
situation with
in
him.
my experience, a lot of mental health issues for males happen around the 18-year mark. For females, sometimes it's a little bit later. Sometimes it's mid-20s for females, but usually for males, the mental health issues if they happen, usually around the 18-year mark.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I say mental health issues, I don't mean mental health based upon traumatic things that happen. I mean the schizophrenia, the bipolar, that type of thing. All right, thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. There's a $1,500 fine that will be probated. The court will sentence you to 4 years deferred adjudication. If you complete everything early, the court will consider early termination. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There's to be regular random UAs. How far did you go in school?
I completed trade school for welding, got my combination welder certification, and I also got my CDL.
All right, 100 hours of community service restitution. Probation, if he actually uses his CDL, then the court will consider waiving 50 of those hours. There is to be an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no in-person contact with the complainant or Maytum Circle, MAYTUM Circle. All right, probation. Let's do a referral to felony drug court and let them know it's for dual diagnosis. And when felony drug court comes to speak to you, you need to let them know about the heroin use. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And then there is going to be a MIC evaluation and DDRF. That's to be in custody. TAP evaluation in custody. Follow all recommendations. And I tell you what, you know what I'll do with the 100 hours of community service restitution? Because I don't know if this is an anger management issue or just some mental health issues. With the anger management, once he completes that, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. Proof of employment or SSI within 45 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Field visits 1 time per month until further notice. And probation with regards to the field visits, once he has a case manager in place for a month, then the field visits can be as determined by probation. Probation, is there anything else? Yes. San Antonio, Texas. And
He
just
said it was Helotes, Your Honor.
Ah, well, you know what? They made a mistake in the police report. Is there anything else you need from the court to be, anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, ma'am.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. You have victim impact?
Yes.
All right, you may
Oh.
proceed.
Just Judge, sorry, one other thing. There is a protective order that was ordered. It's in place for 2 years. So I know the whole contact thing. I just wanted to make sure the
All right,
court's aware.
so the court was unaware of that. Since there's a protective order in place, you need to follow that protective order.
Yes, ma'am.
So if your mother is included in that protective order, you cannot have contact with her at all. If that's what it says.
She's the go-between between me and my dad. If I, but not that I need to talk to my dad, but it was, as far as I know, it was established that I could call and talk to her.
All right, you all need to make sure that that's the case because I don't want any violation.
Yes, ma'am.
So probation with regards to his condition, I'm sorry, with regards to his conditions, there's to be no contact with the complainant. All right, thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Right here. Put it back.
Thank you. I try to do that all the time. Your mom and I both. And so what you did to me on the 26th of August, I do not understand. That changed my whole life. So I never thought I would get assaulted by my son. I never thought my son would break into my house. I never thought I'd have to call and say, leave. Because I was hurt because you people with a brother came and found me. I never thought I would experience something like that. That has affected me, your mom, your brothers, your sisters, anyone and everyone that knows us has affected them because we never thought that you would allow something like that to happen to you and myself. Okay. Drug thing, the meth, all that. You've been in a court like this. This is the second time your mom and I have had to come to court because you couldn't get control of your life. And the only thing that we've ever wanted from you is to be the best person for yourself. Without trouble. Here we are again, 38. All I can do is tell you, I would love you to love this person. Please get your life together. And I will continue to pray for you and I will continue to love you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Yes. All right, so you all are here, yes. All right, if you can have your client come, well, if we can have him come down. All right. Your attorney has filed a motion to withdraw. In order for the court to hear the motion to withdraw, your attorney needs to be present. So what I have done is I have scheduled this for tomorrow and your attorney is to be here tomorrow. If your attorney does not appear, then the court will take other actions as it relates to your attorney. Do you understand? All
Yes,
right, do you have any questions?
no.
All right, thank you.
Judge, will you need me here tomorrow as well?
Yes. All right, thank you.
Toma asiento, por favor.
And don't see that file for that case, please. Is that Corona?
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
I can do it.
That Corona case?
Yes. I have it. Let me put my notes on that.
She hasn't gotten back to me.
Do you have a file?
I have the sheet of paper.
Is it paper file?
Yes, it was paper.
Okay.
Yes,
Corona Garcia Corona, do you need him dressed for tomorrow?
yes. All right, the parties on Yishel Delacruz.
Moving judge.
Court is calling 2024 CR 009415, State of Texas versus Yoshio Delacruz. Can I have parties announced for the record? State.
For the state of Texas.
Defense.
John St. Heinrich for Mr. Dela Cruz.
Are you Mr. Delacruz?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Counsel, have you received all discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, I have. I believe so, Your Honor, and yes, I have.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Is this an application for deferred adjudication?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Delacruz, did you review the document entitled application for deferred with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do so waive the reading of the indictment, Judge.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Proceed on count 2 and we'll wait.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right. Did you review the document entitled court admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand the state is proceeding on count 2, which is continuous violence against the family? That's a third-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for the deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Dela Cruz, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you into this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on count 2. There's a $1,500 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication. There's an affirmative finding of family violence, and there's to be no contact with the complainant. Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that to be your plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
It is the plea, Judge.
State, is that the plea? Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
None urged, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is recommending that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 7 years. There'll be 150 hours community service restitution. The BIPP course, TAP evaluation, and follow all recommendations. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? Then to count 2 of the indictment, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State, any evidence?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right. And state, have you spoken to the complainant? And is the complainant aware of this plea bargain agreement? All right, thank you. You may be excused. Did you review the waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
I do, please, Judge. My client is a subcontractor. His business fluctuates, and also given the length of the term of the deferred adjudication, we're asking that the court place any supervisory fees to the statutory minimum.
All right. So what's your issue?
Decisions.
I mean, why? I mean, I'm assuming you at one point loved the complainant. I don't think people should put their hands on someone in anger if you say you love them.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out why are you doing this? Because it happened more than once.
It's wrong decision, man. Honestly.
I mean, but
It's-
here's the thing. You have to figure out why are you making these wrong decisions.
yes.
Now, I saw one incident happen at a bar. I don't know if alcohol is an issue with you, although when people say the alcohol made me do it, it's like, not really. You wanted to do that and the alcohol is just an excuse, right? So do you have anger issues?
I don't know, man. I don't believe so.
Well, I mean, obviously you do, because this happened more than on one occasion. Did you love her?
Yes.
Are you all still together?
No, man.
All right, so you loved her, right? And this just happened in 2024. So what you visited upon her by being violent towards her, if you're in another relationship, you're going to be violent towards them because you don't know why you get angry and take it out on people who are weaker than you physically. If I could, I would put in my conditions that you're not allowed to be in any type of relationship, but I'm not allowed to do that. But what I will tell you is you shouldn't be in any type of relationship until you figure out why you're so angry and why you want to abuse people that you say you love. If it's something that stems traumatic from your childhood or something you witnessed, and this is you saying, this is how you show love, or this is the way my father treated my mother, then that's something you need to address. But you just can't go through life doing this. All right. I'm not going to drop the fees for the court costs, which includes the probation costs, but I will probate the fine. So the fine is $1,500. You don't have to pay that fine. The only time you may have to pay that fine is if you are revoked. And then if you're revoked, you're open to the full range of punishment for the fine, which is up to $10,000. All right, so there'll be $1,500 fine probated. There's to be no contact with the complainant. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Regular random UAs. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. The BIPP course. TAP evaluation out of custody. There's to be 90 sober support meetings in 90 days. 150 hours of community service restitution. I will deduct 50 hours upon completion of the BIP course. There's to be field visits 1 time per month for 6 months. And you said he works out of town?
Your Honor, he does from time to time, and he also, at least in the past, has traveled to Mexico for work.
All right, defendant is allowed to travel for work.
Thank you, Judge.
If you are working outside of the state, you will need to contact probation beforehand and let them know. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, probation, is there anything else he needs?
No, Judge.
Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, sure. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am. Did.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you need to speak to an attorney. And I'm going to sentence you also to 7 years deferred adjudication. Thank you. All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. Relationships are difficult for everybody, right?
Yes, ma'am.
People sometimes think relationships are going to be, oh, we're so in love. We're always going to be so in love. There are no problems. Who knows what happened to Cinderella and the prince once the cameras start rolling? They just say, and they lived happily ever after, but nobody shows what really happened afterwards, right?
Right.
You obviously have an anger issue. There may be an alcohol issue with you. Before you get into another relationship, are you already in another relationship?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Don't get into one. Before you get into one, this is what you need to do. Go buy an orchid, right? When you get an orchid from the store, it's beautiful. It has the flowers on it. Once those flowers fall, and they will, do not get into another relationship until you're able to make that same orchid bloom again. This is why I tell people that. Orchids, they give you these directions on it. They say, put an ice cube in it. I quickly learned you're not supposed to put ice cubes in an orchid, regardless of what that little card says. And then they'll say, set it on the ledge, but don't put it in direct sunlight. Some orchids, you don't put them in direct sunlight. You think you're doing the whole thing, and they still won't bloom. Next thing you know, they're dying. But orchids require a lot of patience. That's why I always tell people to get an orchid. And if you can make it bloom again, you will look up and find that you've developed so much patience. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And thank you for addressing appropriately for court.
Thank you.
May we please be excused, Judge?
Yes. Well, he has conditions, but yes, you may go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. All right, anyone else ready?
He also, he filed that. Hey, thank you. He filed that on the 14th, which was been.
I think I'll be back Thursday.
You'll be there.
Well, we'll see. We're supposed to have snow, so we'll see what happens.
Again?
Yes.
No.
Hey, I'm just going by what it says.
I'm supposed to have a trial pickup Wednesday, but we'll see if that happens.
It may not happen.
Indeed. Your Honor, please be safe. Court staff.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
You will.
Tell your mom I said hi.
I most definitely will, Judge.
All righty.
Awfully happy there.
All right, so who's ready?
Judge, I wanted to approach on Ricardo Garcia.
All right, can you put the file on Ricardo Garcia? All right, so on this one, has the competency evaluation been completed?
I'm sorry, Judge?
Has the competency evaluation been completed? Because that was requested in December.
Judge, I don't know.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, can you check to see if the competency evaluation has been completed on Ricardo Garcia?
Yes, sir.
Because as of December 12th, we were waiting a psych evaluation.
It says on January the 6th,
Mhm.
the evaluation was scheduled.
Okay. All right, so hasn't been done yet.
Okay.
All right, so Ms. Ferguson,
Yes.
Mr. Ricardo Garcia, come down, please. Put this for the end of February, please. What date?
Judge, I'm sorry, I have a big trial in Kirk County, March 3rd. It starts March 4th. So,
Well, whether or not, when his competency evaluation is done, that's completely up to competency evaluation people. I'm just trying to keep track of him. And what will end up happening, you will need to have a hearing in magistrate's court before this date.
I got you.
And
I got
if
you.
the competency evaluation is not completed, then there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Once there is a request for a competency evaluation, all of this stops legally.
Yeah.
All right, what date?
You said the end of February,
Yes.
February 27th.
All right, so we'll be back on February 27th. That's to see whether or not your competency evaluation has been completed. Has a doctor spoke to you yet
Have several doctors spoken to me.
at the jail?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm on the MHMR caseload.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll see what they say about the competency issue, but once a competency evaluation is requested, legally, I cannot continue
I understand.
with this, okay? All right, so once they tell me if you're competent or not competent, if they say that you're competent, the judge in that court will make a ruling stating that you are competent, then it'll come back to me. If they say that you're not incompetent, if you think and your attorney feels as though it's an accurate finding, then usually what will end up happening is they may send you to the state hospital or maybe not. It depends on the nature of your charge. And then once they determine that you've regained competency, then they'll bring you back.
Okay.
Okay. So the latest you will be back is with me is February 27th. If your attorney wishes you to be brought over sooner, because maybe the competency evaluation is completed sooner, then we'll bring you back sooner. All right, you have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Have a seat, sir. Thank you.
Is there any other cases we have remaining?
Not on the.
All right, let me see. Oh, that's it? Oh. Cambry Johnson, that was heard yesterday. Yeah, and McGarity, oh yeah, this is all done.
Okay.
Yeah, they entered a plea. Who was the prosecutor on McGarity?
Marisa Jovenko?
No, the prosecutor.
Oh.